Hello, welcome to Sage Thyme. I'm Lillian, here with you today with your Sagittarius in 2024 reading. So welcome Sagittarius sun signs and welcome to everybody, because as you know, we are all 12 signs. So go ahead and take note as to which house in your natal chart Sagittarius resides in, as well as any other points, planets, asteroids that are of relevance to you. And truly, if you would like to explore more and would like a guided tour and instructional navigation reading of your astrological natal birth chart, I do offer those. All that information to contact me is in the description box below, as well as the cards that I'll be using today and their creators. So let's get started for you and Sagittarius, as it will be influenced for this year of 2024. So also thank you. It's taken me a couple of weeks to, it's important that these readings are done in the proper state and clarity and intentions, so I don't rush to produce things. I ensure that I do everything in my own personal life and within myself that will best facilitate the highest quality of readings and will circumvent around each sign perfectly. And I think that I know that that offers greater depth and clarity, and in the moment of each recording, a more resonant channel to be able to pick up as viewers and listeners on what messages are for you and how they are meant to be interpreted by you. So here we have the Herbal Astrology Oracle deck to bring through a plant spirit for you to connect with in accordance to Sagittarius and your specific natal chart. So now that I'm done chattering on, let's go ahead and bring out, there we go. This will be a plant medicine that you can connect. Looks like we've got two. We'll do both. That you can connect with throughout the year 2024, and connecting from a heart space, whether you have the plant in front of you or not. It actually can work even better simply by calling that plant spirit medicine in and feeling its connection within you from a heart space, anchoring and intention. So I will let you see the two that have come out. They do both want to be in your reading today, and we'll discuss them at the end of the reading. So the first one is, Daimiana. Oh, I love it. The beloved. Oh, wow. And with it, these are both Venus ruled plants, as well as their accompanying is cacao, initiation. And I feel like they're tied. Well, of course they're tied. They came through together. And here we have the beautiful hummingbird. Hummingbird heart is frequently felt and spoken and understood amongst various readers and connectors of the natural world. And that's definitely present here, along with the Daimiana, the beloved. And the cacao underneath it says initiation. So we'll visit those at the end of the reading in more detail. And for your bulk reading, I'm using Patch Tarot by Spirit Science. There's definitely, I just did the Scorpio reading, and it was so powerfully beautiful and deep, very Scorpionic. And as soon as I completed it and grounded and regrouped, took some time to shift beyond it, I could feel Scorpion rushing in, and it wasn't exactly the wee that I totally expected that was there, or not expected, but I think I anticipated it. It was also, there's this grounded presence, this incredible sense of self-aware that I am feeling from you, Sagittarius. And your first two cards are out. And here's two more. And we'll go with these and see what wants to be discussed. Okay, so this one came out in reverse, and it wanted to stay in reverse until I really looked at it, and then it wants to be made upright. So, and I'll explain. All right, here we go. Balance 12, Roman numeral 12, is the card that's come out. And in its reverse, the key word is corruption that they use. That's not entirely, okay, I am being corrected. I'm not feeling from you the corruption as much as I am feeling that from those that have in the past influenced you. And by corruption, I mean, you know, rusted erosion, distortion within intent of other people, and simply the story that is meant to navigate your life. There was a distortion. Yeah. And that has, and here's why it wanted to be heard in that reverse, because it is done. There has been a cleansing and clearing of that rust on metal. I keep seeing rust. You didn't paint over it. You did the work. You scrubbed, you cleaned, and got rid of everything that was eroding. And while there might be concaves and scarring on the surface of that metal that the rust had done, once you cleansed it completely and cleaned it, that aspect of your life and you within you, there's this incredible new texture and artisan appearance is what I'm hearing. That is you. Like it's not simply just the way you look, and it's not simply who you are inside. It's also how you're experiencing the world around you. And that has now become a really integral part of your story. The one that you were always meant to have, but was corroded and corrupted before. And now because of it is so much more interesting. Now, because of that, and you've cleaned it and done the work, your story is so much more interesting than the basic template, the blueprint that it was originally. And it was meant to be interesting originally, but now it's so much more. And you've done that. Yeah. The second card that came out is the Lover's card. And I love the layers to this Lover's card. I generally do not revert instantly to when I see Lover's cards or indications of it directly to the literal context of that. I often look in more of the sense of union, occasionally the traditional tarot meaning of choices. And those things are there and it's evident. But this is actually really pointing to the Lovers. And here again, you know, we had it with Daimiana and with Cacao in the initiation. Love is a really big thing, and it's happening within. Oh, I'm seeing now that wasn't a hummingbird. It's a macaw. Is that what they're called? It's happening within you, that union. It's happened within you. It was simply part of the almost byproduct of the work that you've done to to identify the corrupting, eroding, resting, distorting factors of your environment. And when you identify them, it allows you to work with it with greater skill. And this is part of your artisan nature that you've been developing, or that's simply been developing within you. And because of that, there has been a greater union of the polarities of yourself. Here we have I believe that's the heron, and then the lion on the other side. And the crane. And there's this grace to the heron. And there's this courage to the lion. There's, with the heron or the crane, there's this methodology and pacing that goes with it. And then with the lion, there's this erupting impulse and force and instinct. These two different polarities that you have brought together with this. In the center, you can see the primordial egg, the axis mundi with the kundalini snake. And I think there at the bottom is an artist's template. Yep. The swords are lowered. It's flowers, but it looks like an artist's palette with the colors. And they're one and the same for you. This has been truly an incredible and lifetime so far of your life. Co-creation and co-navigation, and it's been one that I feel like you have been clear, at least for the better part of it, to your presence. You have been and are now very adept at maintaining clarity of presence. There's not a lot that can knock you down hard for a long time. Not because of walls, but because of openness and vulnerability, and your faith and your contextual knowing and recognition within that. A faith that really has more to do with something so far beyond belief. It's a knowing from experience, and an experience that resides not strictly in the world around you. It does, of course, but also the universe within you that you've worked with. And here above, so you've got kind of these primal aspects of you and the human aspects, and then above these lordship aspects, right? That hierarchical development, and those two parts of you are coming together. And now I'm seeing that is the sort of, I'm hearing ordained beacon of bringing that into your physical reality, your common reality experience. So having that refined internal union within you is now bringing that union in its highest form, which is what you called to. I have a feeling you were kind of doing this thing of, I really don't want to mess with any more unhealthy relationships. I'm hearing this inner dialogue of, I will do the work, and let's not bring in superfluous, unnecessary, datings or relationships that aren't the real deal. And if I'm not ready for the real deal, then I keep doing the work internally and in my movements externally until I get there. And that's here. That's like here now. So you've crossed the rivers and traversed the mountains and reached the iconic summit. That point has been there. And here you are starting this year as the Princess of Discs, regardless if you're a man or woman. You are in this youthful vitality, creative potentiation of an entirely new reality. People will call it things like a timeline jump. I'm hearing that it's more than that. you've done more than a timeline jump. And I'm seeing here in the background, there's this faded away mountain and summit there. That's where you're entering, and you're doing it with your consciousness. You're doing it by connecting with the light. You're doing it in recognition of both sides of you, the desolate desert and the lush green, and you're entering a world that it's not so much that you have co-created in your mind, to a certain extent, yes, but it's more like you co-created a mindset, an emotional set, an alchemical recipe of who you are, and you are being transported to that dimensional reality. And it's beautiful. It's everything that is these dualistic aspects and so much more. Things that you're just getting glimmer hints of in the background now. And that's where you're doing this year. And you are bringing it into creation in that womb space of yours. Whether you're a man or a woman, again, it doesn't pertain to one or the other. We all have that second sacral chakra, the creative womb within us. And you are able to connect to the lower chakras of yourself and open them and dimensionalize them, lighten them, release what no longer is needed, transmute what you can to enhance what you are in that sacral chakra. And that's more and more of your process, that you're going to be cultivating that within you in that creative sacral space. And it is unfolding and revealing itself to you outside of you in the interfacing reality that you exist within. And passion is fueling that. And I can see this patch fellow, he is resting on the focused laser sight, both visually and intuitively, psychically. He's resting, the patch is, as he's wrapping his arms around the lion aspect of him. Again, that's a very sacral chakra feeling that I'm getting with it. I mean, it's many, many things, but the resting patch is telling me that there is a letting go of attachment to what it's going to look like and be like and feel like. He trusts that part of him within him that has been reorganized and transformed, transmuted and transformed and released of the old. He's holding on now to, as he's opening the portals within his creative fiery nature, the first and second chakra, and he's letting that fuel his creative potency, knowing that his mind is now released of its old programs, its old conditionings, the ancestral stories that were needing to be reconciled, honored, and healed, heard and witnessed. And that is really what he's doing. And I feel like, you know, I'm gonna pull another card to see. I don't want to say that, until I know for sure. So the Seven of Wands has come out, and the Two of Swords. So what I wanted to say with this Passion card is the card of strength, right? As I was looking above and behind the patch figure, you can see there's the Ouroboros in the background, as well as the healing. So the Ouroboros is the, Kitaratu, the dragon swallowing his tail, a bit of the cycle of life, and also the cycles and circles that we can be caught within, but then over to the other side is the spiral and the ascension. And so I'm feeling that there's still this year, I'm glad I pulled the other two cards. There's this year still more work to do in keeping that awareness. And by awareness, I mean awareness of how thoughts can be old infiltrations, old stories, even other people's stories that are tapping on the old highways and byways of our neural pathways to bring us back into that regression of these old patterns and get us in our thinking mind and back in the circling rather than the spiraling. So that is being highlighted gently in the background as you are holding on to the fiery instinct and fueling of your sacral and root chakras, and letting it fuel your passageway into this incredibly new unfolding world that is being created within you there, to remind you that these things can and do and will still crop up. Here we have the Two of Swords and the Seven of Wands. And with the Two of Swords today, it's more of a reminder of your meditation practice. He's halfway submerged within the ethereal waters of the universe, beautifully grounded with light at his tail, creating a flower of life at his base and around him. So this is less about blocking and more about doing the practice of meditation, so that when these, you can see here like zombie hands coming up from the fire and he's fending them off, when these old stories of you're this, you're not that, we do things this way, not that's not real, that's your imagination, are you mental, blah blah blah, when those things come up, you don't have to fight him. There's this swirl around him that's reminding him, and it's the same color that I'm seeing here too, reminding him of that etheric peaceful state. And here it's in the Princess of whatever it was, discs, the pentacles. She is that color, that green. That is you. Again, whether you're a man or a woman. So while going into the no thought, the beginner's mind, the 0 point of mentality, the thinking bucket, the brain bucket is what I call it, and letting your passions drive you, also being aware that the meditation practice is essential so that you can go into that still point centered space and be carried by the fire and the fuel of creative force, because that meditative space is going to allow you to not get caught up in the lower fray. It'll allow you to hover above and be carried. And this union, whoever this person is, you may already know her or him. They're different than you. They're different than what you expected, or they. And you can see that in the distinctions of the animals and the patch people and the royals. But then you see above them and uniting them is this connected oversoul, and then above that oversoul is the greater oversoul, and then above that is Cupid, who has behind him Source, the all. So this is ordained, shall we say, in the sense that your higher aspects as a union, okay, this is kind of getting into territory I always get a little concerned with, because it can be distorted and taken into places of attachment and so forth. But this is what wants to come through. The aspect of you that is the aspect of this other as well, in combination, created this upcoming union of very different individuals. And it may be one that is beyond, well, it is. It definitely is. It's one that is so far beyond what traditionally people consider of passionate connection and intimacy and divine union, marriage, relationships, even friendship. This is something that takes all of those things and puts it in the bowl together, and then the two people participating are making it something totally new, totally different. And I keep wanting to reach for it to tell you what that is, and I can taste it. I can see it and feel it. Maybe not see, I can feel it though. There's this knowing, and I feel like you know it too. It's something so much more. It is transcendent of the two distinct and different polarities in a way. Though there are a lot of similarities as well. Similarities in the sense of the heart. Because one heart, no matter how it splits off and in how many different ways, it's always at its truth the same heart, right? And you recognize that when you see this person, and they recognize that when they see you, when you're in each other's presence. This is a new, wonderful, and it doesn't have that like sensation of yay, and it's a wonderful thing. It's a friendship beyond anything else, and everything else that it is that would touch upon all the key things that a person might say belong in a relationship. It's those things transcendent. So whatever that means. And I think it's one of those mystery boxes that the universe loves, wonders and delights and surprises. So while you may be feeling the glimmers of it, you won't really get to know until you open the package on Christmas Day, kind of thing, right? Because you don't want to know what it is until it comes, but it is fun to feel into it and to sense it's coming and to know there's something wonderful for you. And this has been your work. Okay, so we're here at 27 minutes. All right. Daimiana, the Beloved card. I think I'd like to kind of cover both, but without reading everything, hopefully. I say that. That's my mental attachment here. We'll see what it wants to do. So the genus and species Latin name is Ternera diffusa. Magnetism, attraction, kindred spirits, soulmates, relationships, intimacy, sacred play. That was what I was feeling, most definitely. And finding the beloved within, which is what you've done. And I feel like you're going to increase that and develop it more this year, as is your other person. And the astrological ruler is Venus and Pluto, which includes that deep heart digs. Let's see. It's a rejuvenating plant said to restore sexual vitality and strengthen the reproductive system. Commonly used for depression and anxiety. And again, those first couple chakras with the reproductive system. Talks about love potions. We're not even going to get into that. It says, this is interesting. Several indigenous peoples in Mexico, fresh juices made from the leaves and flowers and sweetened with sugarcane. Mayan ceremonial drinks use it in religious rites, often involved Daimiana and or cacao, which came out with it. I mean, we can't make that up. Different ways of using it and different purposes, symptomatics, and so forth. Like Daimiana, Venus, the plant of beauty and art, is said to rule the metamorphosis of cells. That's really what we're talking about here, and I know you get that. I know you get that very much. So these cells, metamorphosis, their reproduction, enrichment, and transformation, as well as the preservation of the body, reproductive system. Your lower dantian is that reproductive system, your vital life force, and the harmony between all systems of the body. And here it says under guidance, Daimiana represents the universal principle of the beloved within relationships and within ourselves. The alchemy of polarity is what we're made of. These are new cards for me, so I love this because it's all coming through. All right, the alchemy of polarity is what we are made of, and this integration of opposites is that which births the beloved. This card represents the journey of coming together and reuniting within oneself. Reuniting within oneself a lover, a friend, a family member, or any other important person in your life. You are in an important period of making choices and establishing healthy boundaries, especially with those you'd like to deepen and expand, or those you feel the need to shed or distance yourself from. Daimiana reminds us of the importance of shaking off rigidity that often depletes creative reserves and sacred play. It's something to really meditate on. I'll read it again. Daimiana reminds us of the importance of shaking off rigidity that often depletes creative reserves and sacred play. So also being mindful, those boundaries can create a rigidity, so that balance is important. And that's also what came up here. And then finally, if you feel unsatisfied and emotionally unavailable, even to those whom you love, take the time to be in solitude and nourish your creative centers. Those first two chakras. Often separation becomes the basis to reunite once again in a higher frequency. True self-love is the key to lasting relationships with others, and most importantly, with yourself. Wonderful. And that was number 11 for Daimiana. And here we've got number 38, which is also 11 for Cacao. What beautiful symmetry to your reading today, Sagittarius. I would love to hear how you enjoy this reading, or even simply that it resonated. That would mean the world to me. All right, Cacao, initiation. Genus and species Latin name is Theobroma cacao. The upright keywords are initiation, spiritual test, revelation, access to the cosmic heart, divine love, light beings, channeling languages of light. The astrological rulers are Uranus and Venus. So let's look here. I'll just read. As empires rose and fell through time, all Mesoamerica civilizations, starting with the Maya Chinchipe 5,500 years ago, coveted cacao for its nutritional power and supernatural properties. Cacao was a pillar of their economics and an integral part of religious rites, appearing as a key element in many spiritual ceremonies, death rites, and sacrifices. And I'm feeling that I'm bringing this up because I think it fits with you. My breath is getting shorter and it's starting to get stuck at the diaphragm, and I'm feeling breathy. And so I'm feeling that as encouragement for you to work more with breathing down into those lower chakras, even if you are already very adept to that, being in the presence of others that aren't. Yeah, and their influences can really start raising that breath up and creating a disharmony and discord. Again, that was related to your old stories. All right, here we go. In the Mayan creation story, Popol Vuh, gods created humans out of food, including cacao, and in another Mayan myth, their god Kukulkan, or feathered serpent, brought cacao to the people. The Aztecs have a similar story wherein their god, please forgive the enunciations, Quetzalcoatl came from the sky to give them cacao. In 1552, Aztec book of herbal medicine called Daimiana Codex, cacao flowers are noted to treat fatigue. Okay, and then it goes on. Interesting. And the herb is also used to alleviate fever, shortness of breath, and faintness of heart. So that's really coming through here. There have been over 100 uses in historical texts, all of which correspond with Uranus's healing energetics. The plant helps the nervous system of exhausted patients, improves weakness and mental fatigue, stimulates the kidneys, and helps the digestion and elimination. So that is what I'm feeling. The kidneys and the adrenals connected with them have been taxed. And there's more energy coming in for you to work with, to transmutate aspects of yourself further this year. And that energy gets so intense that it can create a sense of anxiety or fear without even knowing it, even if you are present to it. And so that's part of the focus on working with your breath in those lower chakras and really focusing along the spinal cord fluidity as well, so that the kidneys and the adrenals are not so taxed. And you'll notice things like a disrupted digestive system. If that's going on, those will be some of your first cues. Heat manifestations on the skin, of course, can come forward too sometimes. And then nervous system stuff, mental fatigue, as it mentions. So the guidance here is Quetzal has flown into your card today, symbolizing initiation. Oh, forgive me, guys. I am really feeling the intensity of what you're going to be working with in this reading today. And I really want to tell you, I understand this work. And I understand how much it can knock you off your feet, especially if you're trying to keep one foot in the traditional cultural norms of our common reality. It starts creating a intense disharmony because our cultural norms, our social norms don't allow for that slow movement and gentle pacing that is required to connect more fully and deeply with the whole self, including anchoring in the first two chakras. And so this is going to be an incredible component of your transitory and transitional phases this year. This is your initiation. Don't let this slip by you, because it won't let you hide under the radar. And it's better to give it the attention that it calls you to than have it start to create symptoms and disorders, which then can lead to things that we would call diseases or illnesses of the body. The sky gods are speaking and bathing your soul in liquid light as you traverse a series of spiritual tests. The Quetzal is considered one of the highest divine apparitions, as it is associated with the snake god Quetzalcoatl, the feathered servant. Like cacao, both are considered precious heavenly gifts from the sky gods, which we saw here in this union, right? The oversoul, the greater soul, and the source of all, which is all. These divine apparitions today are asking you to deeply tune into the cosmic heart. Let it move you. Open yourself to receive the holy gifts provided, and listen carefully to the light language pouring through them. You're learning a new language, and you're learning it better than ever. Keep elevating your frequency, rooted in unconditional love. Step out of your own way and allow your heart to blossom and bloom. Know that through divine love, we experience the cosmic heart, the gateway to spirit. What's really beautiful and interesting is there are a lot of harmonic intonements I'm hearing between this reading and the Scorpio reading. Two very distinctly different energies, and yet rooted again in the same holistic, comprehensive heart, purity and beauty of love. So if you haven't listened to the Scorpio reading, you might be interested in, after you've listened to this and assimilated it, listen to that one and allow what needs to be let in, what resonates to come in, and what doesn't, you can discard, or you can look at it more deeply. You'll know it'll come up again for you if you discard it too quickly. So that is your Sagittarius 2024 reading. Thank you everybody for being here with me today. I appreciate your likes and hitting the subscribe button, of course, too, and any comments that you would feel. They're always such an encouragement to hear how this resonates with you or how you are considering it, whatever comes to heart and mind for you to share. I appreciate you all so very much. Much love to you in this coming year. Blessings.